Hi, friends. Peace. When nothing or anything holds any power over you. When any circumstance in your field can cause you contraction. Because you see through it. You see through the illusion of the perceived benefit, the perceived gain, the perceived loss, the perceived fear. And you can't believe it anymore. So it just passes through you like a waterfall, just flowing slowly and smoothly. And it doesn't touch you. You're free. That's your power. All of the illusions or limiting beliefs or energies, all the karmic conglomeration of ideas that were once stored in your aura, in your field. Whenever none of that is moved because the same situation presents itself and you're at peace, fuck, that's your power. And if you are moved by any circumstance, then it's beautiful because it's a gift and an opportunity to look at that wound, to look at that misaligned perception, because it wouldn't hurt or it wouldn't feel painful or it wouldn't be contracted if it wasn't in misalignment to how God sees this or how higher self or the universe sees this. So if it's not truth, it feels contracted. If it feels good, expansion, your heart's happy, is because your higher self is letting you know that whatever it is that you're believing and experiencing, it's true. Remind me of this line in the Course in Miracles. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, and here lies the peace of God. So whenever you're not threatened, you're not contracted, you're not triggered, it's because you're in reality. That's reality. It's the peaceful state. And when you see through that, anytime you were moved, it wasn't you. If you have seen Lord of the Rings and you see the gremlin, I said the gremlin, Gollum, I don't know if he's a gremlin, but you see how Gollum had this beautiful aspect that was so innocent and so loving and so helpful and open, and then the other aspect that was the shadow. Well, that's the conditioning, that's the program. And he shifted between one another. The program is the one that gets triggered. The shadow is the one that gets triggered. And so that's beautiful. Any being in your life that is presenting yourself with a trigger is helping you release the attachment from that gremlin, from Gollum in your psyche. And it's like, you don't want that program there. It's a virus. Why would you want to have your system hijacked? It's like being grateful for all the mirrors that present themselves in your life to be like, get this bastard out of here. I want to be fucking free. I want to be in my power, in my peace, in my authenticity, in my integrity. So, whenever the same situation presents itself and you feel peace, it's because Gollum's no longer there. And you are resting in your God state, in your natural state, in your state of peace, in your state of freedom, in your state of power. And when you release all self-seeking motives, intentions, gain, wanting to grasp onto something for the gratification of the ego or the Gollum, then that's when you're malleable, when you're people can manipulate or can get their way onto things because there's a distortion in the lens. You're coming from that space in some aspects, so you can see through that, and then the energy is being reflected upon you. But when you come from purity in your intentions, when you are just basing your truth in your honesty, in your integrity, in knowing that every action that you're taking is based on love and givingness and how can I best serve others without having to sacrifice yourself, always thinking about nourishing yourself, something that serves you as well, but with the purity of intention, then nothing that happens in the quote-unquote outside world can ever move you from that center of alignment within yourself. And whenever the world's trembling outside, but you are in stillness, that's peace. And that peace, whenever you are expressing it, it's joy. Because how can you not feel joyful if there's nothing that can disturb you? When you release any want, if you have many wants and many desires, then it would be a long, arduous journey to feel that peace. Doesn't mean you can't have desires. Desires are beautiful because they are there's subtleties there. They are the way of your higher self showing you where your soul can expand. But then the desire may be filtered from the eyes of, is this in integrity with my calling? Is this in integrity with my intentions? Is this in integrity with what lifts me up? What expands my heart? Then you know it's a desire from your higher self. And that's just expansion. That's your soul from peace moving into joy, expressing itself to be of service not only to yourself, but to everyone in this plane. And nothing can move you from that center. When the desire comes from the ego, from gain, from, oh, I need to get this, because if not, when I finally get this, I'll be free. When I finally get the relationship or the money or the state of being, or when I finally achieve quote unquote enlightenment, then I'll be happy. Then it's always the person seeking for something that it doesn't matter how many symbols and forms would never get, and then it's Gollum like trying to grasp onto whatever it can get. And when it doesn't get, then it freaks out and gets mad or feels contracted, because there was always a hidden agenda. Even in actions that maybe seem of service, there was not an integrous alignment of motive. So when we release any intention of gain, self-seeking motive, when we take the power of the Gollum in the psyche of the shadow, and we just allow higher self, God, our natural state, to take the reins of our vessel, of our puppet, and be like, hey, Gollum, get the fuck out of here. We are just inviting the highest energies, the highest frequencies for us to move through our journey in a smooth, playful, joyful, integrous, of service way. That's when you know you're in your peace. That's when you know you're in your power. And whatever shows up that moves you, even coming from that space of peace and power, would be really, really subtle. And then it will be even more subtle and more subtle and more subtle until it's like, nice. That's it. I see this. And right away it dissolves. As it like rises, it passes right away. It's like you're completely empty. So whenever like the energy comes into your vessel, into your body, there are no programs, limitations, or mini golems. So it just like passes through you. As it before, it experienced contraction because when it was trying to pass through the vessel, there were so many dots. I call it dark spots or beliefs or shadows. So it was like, and then it moved that, and it was like, but it's a good thing because you want that shadow to move and to get triggered so it can be dissolved into the oneness of purity and love and power and essence. So when you're completely empty, you become more like a hologram, and then it rises and passes and rises and passes and rises and passes, and then it's like waves, and you're surfing, and you're always in the peak of the wave. You're always in the foreverness of every existing unfolding now. And it's not even the now, because that makes it stuck into a frame of time, in a snapshot, in a container of existence. It's just a continuous foreverness of ongoingness. And then whatever shows up in the field, you don't reject it, you nor accept it. You just see it like, fun. And then you are a complete reflection of whatever is needed for that moment, for the highest service of that soul, and for yourself as well. Because there's no separation, and you're the other person as well. So it just flows, and it rises and passes, and then you're surfing, and then circumstances happen, people show up, you bump into objects and subjects, and it's like, oh, fun, oh, this, oh, that. And then you don't feel pain. you don't suffer. It's just like, oh, I see this. And you're so rooted in words that mean anything that you can play with the symbols. Whatever I'm saying right now, you're interpreting by the filters of the words and the meanings you have of the words that I'm saying. But anything that I'm saying has no meaning. What you're feeling is the frequency, the sensation of my intentions, which can be distorted through the lens of how you perceive this due to past trauma or past mistrust situation that can be like, oh, but if you're fully surrendered to what I'm saying, then you can just feel the frequency of love and the high intentionality of the message. So it's not what I'm saying. I can be saying fuck, shit, or this sucks, or I hate you. But if I say I hate you and I'm smiling and I bring that frequency, you know what I'm really saying is I love you, I hate you. Or if somebody tells you I love you, but it's like, I love you, you would receive the frequency of I hate you way more than someone like, yeah, of course I love you. It's empty. There's no power in the words. So don't get caught up in anything that nobody says to you because it's just meaningless. It's just how we try to communicate to each other, and then you become really subtle to the symbols. And that's how nothing can grasp you. Nothing can have power over you. And we get a new sense of communicating with the reflections that appear in our field because they're just reflections. And you get to see that everybody's just living through their own canvas of life, through their own lenses of their reality, and we're just merging frequencies and then walking each other home or enlightening each other with our perspectives, which is our energies. It's just so beautiful. It is. So the main 2 points of this talk is, number 1, peace is power. Whenever the same situation presents itself and you're not moved, you know you're living in the peak of the wave. You're completely empty. The programs have been dissolved. Gollum is not in charge. You are in charge. You higher self, God state. And number 2, words don't mean anything, just the meaning we associate to them. So don't get caught up by what nobody says, because it's just a word. And then when you can play with that, you can use those words to trigger sensations in people's golems so you can wake them up. Because you know that what they are is the purity and essence of God's state, of freedom, of light. That's their true sense, true essence, sense of self, essence. And the more you get to clear up your own shit, the easier it is to see through the shit of the reflections of your past selves, which would be the people that will show up in your field for the highest acceleration of human evolution. So that's grace. Being in that state of devotional integrity, devotional kindness, devotional service, devotional wisdom means the givingness of love just by existing, not by overly expressing it, because again, it's just a word, it doesn't mean anything. Your presence is the love. That's your greatest gift. Your eyes are gifts to people. By seeing them, they heal. And anything that is not in alignment with the highest frequency instantly drops. And you come from that embodiment. So every time you work on yourself or non-self, or you explore more deep the depths of your consciousness and heal and integrate the shadows, the more you can be of service just by your presence, because you're that embodiment. And then anybody that doesn't have that embodiment, it's like, gets all moved and it dissolved. It's beautiful. Peace is your power. Let's try to tune in into that peace right now. If you can close your eyes, and something in you can truly get it, can truly know that your natural state, your true self is this peaceful awareness. And doesn't matter what has happened to you in the past, any reactions, any things you said, heard, did, none of that matters because it wasn't you. Anything that didn't came from love was that golem, was that shadow, was that aspect that now has and doesn't hold any power over you. You, with upper Y, higher self, has all the power over your puppet, your vessel, your expression. And you see everything through those lenses of discernment, of love. Discernment and love. You stay and rest in that peace, and doesn't matter what reality brings onto you. You're always in this anchored peace, in the grounded state of freedom, because you're always free. Anything that gets moved, any disturbance in the field, confirms that you are always free and you have always been free. And that's just showing up to be cleared, to dissolve, to be cleaned up. So it's a gift. You rest in gratitude for the gift of seeing through your distortions, because you're given an opportunity to expand more and more in what you truly are, in the essence of your wholeness and your completeness. And from that space, anything's possible. You can create and give your greatest gift to the world, because you would be in complete alignment with higher self, and the only thing that would be relevant to do in that moment is to channel that expression into creativity, into being, into your highest desires, coming from the purity of that soul essence of your heart. No ego desires, but soul desires. And you know the difference. We rest in that clarity, in that purity, in that peace, in that presence, in that joy. And we feel it. We allow the frequency to raise up, tune it up now. A notch, another notch, another notch, another notch, another notch, until you can take it no more. And the state of bliss is so grand that you feel like you're going to expand and your heart wants to explode, and there's just so much joy and happiness and excitement. And you know you can tone it down into peace right away whenever you want at will. Because you can control your frequency. Because you have all power. There are no leakages of energy anymore. You have all power to turn it up or ground it all down into peace. For whatever it is that presents itself in the moment. You are that power. You are that freedom. Remember that gift. I love you, and excited to see how that freedom manifests, expresses itself, that power in your creations, in your life, in your relationships, in your love, in everything that you wish to do here. Because you're here to play and create and have fun. You deserve to be here because you exist. You're wanted by creation because you are. There's nothing you need to do to be wanted by creation. Remember that. Own that.